Hey guys, yeah, I wanted to come on here uncut and unscripted and real quickly and basically give you my thoughts, a bit of mini review on the 4 hacks that have happened in the first 2 Sonic games ever. Those hacks being Sally and Bunnie in both Sonic 1 and 2. And I have to say that um, from what I've seen and played, it feels like Bunnie and Sally were always meant to be in these games. Like, if you were to go back and play the original versions with Sonic in them, and you compare playing these new hacked modified versions, it'll feel like they were always meant to be in the game. Like you can't imagine the game without these characters, and you can tell a lot of effort and love went into the modifications to put these characters in the game. For example, you could tell that the people behind this, because they're constantly revising the game, basically the characters. I mean, there's different versions. Like, I download the latest versions of both hacks for both games, and again, you when you play it, it feels like they just naturally belong there. It's like you can't imagine the game without them. And as I was saying, you could definitely tell that a lot of love and effort went into this to make the characters adaptable to the environment, because they're not Sonic. They're not Sonic, so they were able to find a way to make the characters adaptable by utilizing the strengths and their abilities that are showcased in the comics and in the show. For example, with Bunnie, she has the ability to extend her cybernetic arm and hover. She's able to hover above the ground, and that helps. Obviously, that helps you when you play her get over certain obstacles and probably get beat the level a lot quicker, if not the game a lot quicker. Um, Sally, on the other hand, she's not Bunnie, but they did give her the ability to, run faster than Bunnie, obviously. But they also gave her a projectile. They gave her a weapon by utilizing Nicole to fire little projectiles and like a little like laser or something like that, little circus electric circle or beam or something like that. And both these characters, by utilizing these abilities, the stretching of the cybernetic arm for Bunnie and then the projectiles fired by Sally, using Nicole, I think, it helps them beat enemies a lot quicker. Like more than just one enemy. It's like with Bunnie, you could just extend the arm and you can take out 3 or 4 enemies at once, thus freeing 3 to 4 animals. Sally's more like kind of like Sonic, but instead of bouncing on them, she has to just stand there and hit like with hit one character at a time sometimes. So yeah, there are differences, but again, you could tell that the people behind these hacks put a lot of love and dedication into making it feel like I said, they were always part of the game. Sally and Bunnie were always part of the game, and you can't imagine the games without them, and thus modifying the environment for them to be able to focus, for you to be able to utilize and focus on utilizing, I should say, the strengths and abilities that they have. So I really like that. I really appreciated that because it still feels, they both still feel like a Sonic game. It's like the traditional original Sonic game. Um, but you could definitely tell that it was modified. You definitely uh, sorry about that, but like you said, you could definitely tell that. Again, what was it? Oh yeah, again, you could definitely tell that a lot of love and effort went into this because, as I was saying earlier, you can't imagine just by playing the games the way they are, you can't imagine the games without these characters. And again, they made it to where they feel like a natural fit. Like they naturally fit there, and their ability, because again, they're not, like I said earlier, they're not, neither of them are Sonic, so they focused on having the player utilize their strengths that you saw in the show and in the comics. And I appreciate, and that's really a great, that's a good plus in my opinion. I really, really love that. And again, you can't imagine these games without them. That's the thing. You can't imagine the games without them. You can't imagine it, without them. So again, I really appreciate what they did here. I like it. Again, you go back and you play the games as they originally are, with Sonic and Tails and just Sonic, and then you play these versions. It feels like there's nothing really different, and all you're doing is just selecting a different character to play the game as. And I like that, I really do. And as I was saying, you can definitely tell a lot of love and effort went into this because it wasn't just the characters they're adding in. It wasn't just the characters they were adding in. No, and just modifying the stages and the game to fit to fit for the to fit with them and them with it. But they also modified other things like when you get an extra life. Sometimes hacks like this will sometimes hacks like this will keep something original from the game, like an extra life, and you'll just see like the original character instead of the modified character. No, they went all the way here. They basically allowed you, when you get an extra life, it's not Sonic you see, it's the character themselves. Even when you end the level and you get your tally or your total and all that, and all of a sudden you hear this do 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 do, which indicates an extra life. It doesn't show Sonic, it shows Sally or it shows Bunnie. And I really appreciate that. The effort they put into this was just great. It was just tremendous. And again, they focused by putting these characters in there. They didn't try to make them like Sonic. They didn't just try to make them female clones of Sonic abilities and all that. They made them to where they felt like the characters you saw in Sonic SatAM and in the Archie Sonic. And by doing so, like I said, it utilized the strengths and abilities is in the game. It focused on that, allowing the players to be able to play them as they would imagine them being in the game in the first place. Like, I'm sure a lot of fans would be like, if Bunnie was in the game in the first place when it originally first came out, there's no doubt they'd probably focus on her cybernetics, like her extendo arm and her hovering, from her legs. They would look at Sally and be like, okay, Sally's got Nicole, and Nicole is shown to have a laser. Obviously, they would want to employ that, and focus on that. And that's what they did here. They made it feel like, as I've said before, and I know I'm repeating myself, like these characters were always part of the game, and you can't imagine the game without them. So, in the end, though, guys, all I have to say is if you have the MD.emu, the Mega Drive emulator, on your phone or your Android device or iPhone or whatever, iPad, if you have it, I suggest going to Sonic Retro or Googling it or something like that. Going to Sonic Retro, Sally. Basically, I say this: go to YouTube, search it, go to Google, search it, and put Sally Acorn or Bunnie Rabbot in Sonic the Hedgehog 1, or Sonic the Hedgehog 2. You'll get a link to Sonic Retro, and you'll be able to download the latest version. Because, like I said, they got about one or two versions, 1, 2, 3, 4 versions of of the game, of the hack. And my suggestion is getting the latest one because that one's the smoothest and the best for both games. So I highly recommend you guys doing that. But overall, I love what they did here. They definitely made the game feel like Sally and Bunnie were always meant to be in it. They made it to where it feels like, again, they made it adaptable to where you know they're not just Sonic clones. They're more along the lines of they're their own characters because you're using their abilities they're known for, in the cartoon and in the comic. So that's all I'm gonna say though, guys. I highly recommend doing what I highly recommend checking out those hacks, especially if you have an emulator, and especially if you have something like this on hand. I suggest checking it out and downloading those versions, the latest versions that is, and playing them. And you'll probably agree with me that once you've played them, you'll agree that yeah, it does feel like they were always meant to be in this game, and it feels like they were always part of it in the first place. Because, like I said, a lot of effort went into this, not just with the characters, but with a lot of what you see, extra lives and all that. It's really something. So that's all I'm gonna say, though, guys. Let me know what you think down below. Comment if you like. And I am out in sci-fi. I stuttered a little bit, or I rambled. I am resting today, and I did nap just a little bit ago. So, what do you expect? But again, let me know what you all think down below. Comment if you like. And I'm out. Peace and God bless.